Thank you, Senator. Now I understand that Senator Black and Senator Ruan are sharing time 6 and 2. 5 and 3. Is that agreed? Thank you. Senator Black, 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm told that the whole of Palestine are watching here today, so you can imagine I'm a little bit anxious, and I just want to make sure that I get everything in I need to get in, and I will try and do that. Last night I welcomed 2 amazing Palestinian farmers to Dublin. Mona and Fayez travelled all the way from the West Bank to be here to meet with ordinary Irish people, groups that have been fundraising, holding public meetings and sending support. They're watching from the gallery today, and I want to extend a sincere welcome to them on what I hope will be a historic occasion. They've been living in the shadow of Israel's illegal annexation wall since 2003, fighting against the demolition of their home and the confiscation of their land. The wall has quite literally cut their farm in half, and the impact it has had on their family is absolutely devastating. Sadly, their story is not unique. It is repeatedly endless across the West Bank, where over 42% of the land has now been confiscated, seriously undermining the viability of a sustainable Palestinian state. Though these settlements are repeatedly condemned as illegal by the EU, UN and Irish government, they continue to extract valuable natural resources and agricultural produce. These goods are then exported and sold on shelves around the world, including in Ireland, to pay for occupation. There is a clear hypocrisy here. How can we condemn the settlements as illegal, as theft of land and resources, but then happily buy the proceeds of this crime? We must be clear on this. Israeli settlements in the West Bank are war crimes. The legal basis of the bill is outlined in great detail in the legal opinions I have shared with colleagues across this House. They are written by Michael Lynn, Senior Counsel here in Ireland, and James Crawford, Professor of International Law at Cambridge University and a sitting judge at the International Court of Justice. The government may disagree, but these are some of the most eminent, authoritative legal scholars in Ireland and the world. Their input carries weight, and I would also thank Senator Michael McDowell himself, a former Attorney General of this country, for offering his legal support of the bill. This is a modest proposal. It is not sanctions on any one country. It is not ending diplomatic ties. It's simply saying that if we are sure certain goods have been produced as a result of war crimes, we should not be trading in them.
I've been going backwards and forwards to Israel and Palestine for 40 years. I had an apartment in Jerusalem for many, many years, which I shared with my partner, Ezra Yitzhak Nari, who is an Israeli Jewish civil rights activist who has been victimized by the Israeli state for his strong support of the Palestinian people. I'm honoured to be a signatory to this bill. I think it's a remarkable initiative. And I would say to the government here today that people all over Europe, people in parliaments all over Europe are watching this debate, and they will take courage from it, and they will pass similar legislation. Now, can I say also that people in Israel have signed a letter, very significant people, and they say, as concerned citizens of Israel who wish to live in peace with our neighbours, we once again urge Ireland to support this legislation that will ban trade between Ireland and Israel's illegal settlements in the West Bank. It's signed by Yuri Avnery, Ambassador Professor Eli Barnavi, Ambassador Ilan Baruch, a whole series of ambassadors, Speaker of the Knesset. This is the voice of the real conscience of Israel. And the Minister says we could be a principled voice in the wilderness. Let us be such. The voice in the wilderness was the voice of John the Baptist. And the voice of John the Baptist has rung down through the ages and is still heard today. If Ireland accepts this bill, the voice of Ireland will be heard throughout the ages as well. Now, the Minister has spoken about very admirable projects, projects like solar energy. I raised €55,000 to put in solar energy and water treatment plants, and I saw them being demolished, bombed by the Israelis. That's what happens. And you talk about the solar energy plant, and you said, as if it was something positive, that it was in Israeli-controlled territory. What do the Israelis do? Every time they feel like it, they switch the electricity off.
We either believe in democracy or we don't. And there is something rotten in the way democracy is defined and lived, and most importantly, denied within the Israeli-Palestinian territories, because democracy among Palestinians is more akin to annihilation, and Israel occupies a place within Palestine where they obey no rules. Now, I've had the privilege of visiting Palestine, a witness to the greatest violation of human rights by one country over another, Israel over Palestine. I think it is a living apartheid every day. The wall, as been mentioned, is higher and more evident. It runs through people's homes, yards, farms, houses, business premises, olive groves and water, as was mentioned. If the Israelis decide to turn off the water, that's what happens. To turn off the electricity, that's what happens. It runs through their fields, hills, trees and lives. Wherever Israel wants to push it, pull it, or further it, it will happen. It gets bigger, thicker and fatter every day as they build it. And the Palestinians who are here with us today have to go round it because they can't go over it. They haven't access to cross. They have to cross at different places. They queue for hours to go to work, to leave work. They queue to come home and to leave their homes if they have work. They cannot drive on Israeli motorways without a pass. They cannot live without a permit. Every Palestinian I met there was living normally in captivity. Well, we can do something. Personally, I would like to see sanctions against Israel for crimes against humanity.
We've watched in horror as the events of the past weeks, the past months, the past years have unfolded on our TV screens, on our tablets. We've seen the most desperate and brutal violations of people's right to protest against injustice, against occupation, against the taking of the very ground from under people. The delusion that Israel is fully committed to a two-state solution is very, very questionable.
At the heart of this is the issue of what kind of state Israel is. And the fact of the matter is, we have heard voices from across this chamber, from all parties, acknowledging that Israel is an apartheid state. Any of us who have been there know that. Once you know that, it changes you.
For far too long, we've been hearing about initiatives to try and resolve the problems, and sometimes a bold step is required. The destruction of an entire population is no way. We just simply cannot stand by and watch that. I understand the government will fight the good fight to try and stop Senator Black's bill. I hope it gets the whole way through. You've crops destroyed, thousands of years of olive groves destroyed as they take over properties as they see fit. A rocket is fired from somewhere into Israel and they destroy not the whole street but 2 or 3 or 4 streets. It is just beyond belief that the world has sat by for as long as I can remember and watched this conflict.
I've seen pathetic little houses demolished by Israeli bulldozers. I've seen the results of the bombing of hospitals, of schools, of sewage treatment plants. It is appalling. And if you want to know what the people of Palestine, you say that you're speaking on behalf of the people of Palestine. If you want to know what the people of Palestine want, ask the Palestinian farmers in the gallery there, and they will tell you. I surrender my time to my colleagues.
Thank you, sir.
I witnessed with my own eyes the crushing indignity of a Palestinian community cut off from their water supply so that it could be diverted instead to support an Israeli chicken farm. That is horrendous, and the injustice of it will stay with me forever. That commercial settlement built on stolen land beyond international recognised borders is a war crime, and I know I'm repeating myself today. Today I'm calling on my Oireachtas colleagues to show that it is, to state firmly that Irish foreign policy will always stand on the side of international law, human rights and justice.
We make one.